I'm very happy that I did.
This meeting is being recorded.
I know. It's so awesome because you're absolutely right, Connie. I remember it just like it was yesterday. For those of you that aren't aware, there was an NLN Summit in one of the most fun places in the country, I think, Las Vegas, Nevada. And Dr. Sellars Educate was an exhibitor at that conference for the first time. We thought it was really important to us to be in the space with nurse educator colleagues talking about the programs and services that we can provide to help you be successful on your CNE journey. And when I say CNE for purposes of the conversation today, that includes any certification exam that NLN offers. CNE Novice is the newest one. And then what I like to call the traditional or the original certification is CNE, but also CNE CL. So our conversation today is again with Dr. Connie Noeller. We're super excited that she's here, and she's going to talk a little bit about her journey. As we just mentioned, we had a great opportunity to meet at some of the last minutes of the exhibit hall being open at the NLN Education Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada. A lot of questions that we get here at Dr. Sellars Educate is about the different services and programs that we offer. We're always happy to answer any questions that you all have. You can reach us at info@drsellarseducate.com if you have questions, and you can head over to our website, which is drsellarseducate.com. All right, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump in. I want to introduce you all to Dr. Connie Noeller. She is one of our nurse educator colleagues that did reach out to us, and we partnered with her to help her on her journey. So Dr. Noeller, we're going to get started with you just telling us a little bit about your why. So what interested you in attaining your CNE?
Well, it's a personal journey for me. I really wanted to learn more about how to educate appropriately, what the evidence showed, and me and two of my friends decided, let's go ahead and step out. We tried several years ago, and then, life happens. And we reached back out a couple months ago and said, let's try it again. And so we did have some other resources that we used together. We kind of went through each chapter, but it was still kind of bullet points that we were making. And we really didn't have a plan. Our plan was to get through each one of the sections. Mm-hmm. And so we did that. And I still felt when I went to NLN, we had completed that. And we said, okay, let's go ahead and study on our own. I still felt that I didn't have a solid plan. I learned like the surface learning. I didn't learn the deep learning until I honestly met you and got the books. And I can tell you, when I purchased the books, I almost went over on the limit, at the airport, like I was at 50 pounds. But getting the books really helped. And I don't know if you all know, but here it is. This is Caputi, and here is teaching nursing. And most people already have this. It was sitting on my shelf and just didn't have time to look at it. But honestly, taking that plan that you have a weekly plan that we met every week, and just being prepared for that each week, reading the chapters that you set out, and then still kind of connecting how I perceive it. Like, what does it speak to me? Because I have to use, things don't just come easy for me, especially as I'm older. I have to write things down for that kinetic. I have to see it. And so you provided the videos for us to go back and relook at that. So that was that visual learning, the kinetic learning, writing that information down, connecting the whole entire picture together from that, it's just an example that evaluation strategies. So if I can say, if you take all of that evidence-based evaluation strategies and connect what you've learned from each one of those weeks, you're going to have to connect blooms to each one of those evaluation, like SIM, journaling, reflective papers, discussion. Connect those concepts all together. The only way I feel like you're going to be able to do that is if you really understand the information much better than just the surface, like the PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. So my journey was definitely auditory, visual, kinesthetic, tactile. I had to use all of those in order to connect the whole big picture.
That's wonderful. Dr. Noeller, you brought up so many great points when we talk about the obstacles and the challenges that are associated with being successful as you're on that CNE journey. You mentioned a lot of great ones. First is being able to make sure you have the right resources. That is key. And that's what we're going to talk about today. A second focus we know that you mentioned is being able to identify a step-by-step plan. We're going to do that with everyone on the call today too. And then the third point that Dr. Noeller mentioned is having support along the way. We're going to talk about that today. Dr. Noeller, as well as 6 of her other nurse educator colleagues, chose to enroll in our CNE in 60 Days program. We're going to talk about that option today. Our next cohort is going to enroll in January, but the benefit of having someone to support you every single week, as she mentioned, we came together, we met for about an hour and a half. There's pre-work that's assigned, there's post-work or debrief work that happens as well. But it's about building this community of support that can help you be successful. And then the last part you said, Dr. Noeller, which I love, is the different learning styles. You know, it's exactly what we know about our student population. As adults, we all learn differently. And so that's one aha moment that we've had here at Dr. Sellars Educate over the past 2 years. We have realized that there are lots of kinesthetic learners, and that's why we have study worksheets. That's why we developed our study workbook. That was not a goal that we initially had. We felt like that the resources were there with Dr. Caputi's review book, Dr. Schellenberger's review book, if you're taking the CNECL. Teaching and Nursing really is the Bible that we like to use by Billings and Halstead to really help close those knowledge gaps. But you are exactly right. Being able to, first of all, self-identify what our learning preferences are is the first huge step. And then making sure as you move forward on your journey that you are utilizing those resources that are going to best connect you to the content, so you're able to apply those concepts when you sit for the CNE exam. So you said so many great points, and I didn't even have to script her at all. This is just, you know, kind of a conversation, like I said before. And then Dr. Noeller, before we let you go, one other question, and then we'll just take maybe 3 or so questions in the chat. If you all want to go ahead and put those there, I'll be happy to read those off. Telling us a little bit more about the what. So you've already done a great job of that, telling us about the resources, but is there any other resource or strategy that you use to help you be successful?
Oh yeah, I did. I actually listened to Nurse Tim. I listened to that, Diane Billingsley. Again, though, I will caution that it is bullet points. You know, so I really didn't understand it until I delved into the book itself and made, you know, that plan. Just listening was still passive learning for me. I had to actually listen and then read and write it down to make it make sense for me.
Absolutely.
And then I also used another book, The Momentum. I used that, and I looked back after I took the test. I honestly looked back and said, well, which one really did help me the best? And I have to say, for me, that was not the best or the most effective tool. It might be great for others, but it still was just very bullet points. It didn't go into the why as much as, you know, this book. And Caputi. I could say the most beneficial one was having that plan each week and then making sure that I understood it, taking Caputi's, you know, chapter quizzes. I did that several times, read the rationale to kind of test my knowledge. I didn't write in this book because I wanted to retake the test. And so what I would do is take the exam questions and then look at the rationale, and then maybe a couple weeks later, go back to that concept and retake the test to see, do I still not understand something? If I don't understand something, then I need to read more in that Teaching and Nursing by Billings and Halstead.
Excellent. Well,
look at your videos.
Yes, watch the videos. Yes, there's huge value. Yes, there's huge value in the auditory and the visual. And I'm not camera shy because I know how I learn best. And you've said some more great points, Dr. Noeller, and that is that there are many resources out there. We get that question a lot. There are so many resources. Which ones can you really trust are going to help you close your knowledge gaps? And we don't talk negatively about any other resources. We simply say that Dr. Sellars Educate focuses on aligning the exam blueprint with Dr. Caputi and Billings and Halstead resources. Okay, so that is our strategy. We believe that NLN really does not leave out any secrets, that as long as you invest in the time and the focus with these right resources, you will be successful. And we just wanted to bring Dr. Noeller here today to say that you can do it too. As you can tell, she's very genuine. She is not being paid for this endorsement. This is speaking very directly about her personal experience. So let's take a couple of questions, Dr. Noeller, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. So it looks like, let's just see if we can take 3. So someone is asking for the book names. That's a great question. And we will go over that as part of our 30 minutes together today. So I'll cover you there. And then someone is asking about Nurse Tim. So Nurse Tim is a resource that does provide several review materials. Some universities also purchase their packages. So that may be a resource for you. Again, Billings, Dr. Diane Billings, she also provides a review course. All right, so that's what we were talking about there. And then someone says, I finished my MSN this month. How long do you recommend I wait before taking the exam? So do you have thoughts about that, Dr. Noeller?
Well, I have been an educator for about 11 years. And so I was in the associate's degree program, and now I'm teaching the RN to BSN. So I had some background there, to kind of build upon. And so it depends on it just depends not on your MSN, but how much have you actually worked as an educator. I think that does help quite a bit, because you're going to be faced with a lot of scenarios and situations that the exam asks you about, and you can draw from what you have done in the past.
Excellent. Okay, that's a great response. And we are going to be talking about that today as well. What are those specific keys for success based on our framework that we have really crafted, our own framework based on research and feedback that we have had from our nurse educator colleagues. And then one more, Dr. Noeller, the question is, I feel like I don't have much time in the day to really study. How many hours a day or week did you need before you felt ready? That's a great question.
Yes, that is a great question. I work full time and have a family, and am very busy as well. And so it's you have to think about this commitment, and I would try to schedule myself on my calendar to take a break at least an hour or two every day of the week. And of course, it could be after I got off work. So I could reset and go back and look at those concepts. So I took that as that was my time to prep for this, because it's expensive. It's an expensive journey to take. Mm-hmm. And I did not want to, I didn't want to fail. And if I had, that's okay. I would have retaken it. However, I just wanted to try to do it the first time. And so I would say that was my gift to me. I had to take that time out, either early in the morning or later when I got home. I'm an early bird, so I like way early in the morning to kind of give myself that time to go back and look at the videos, look at the chapters and the reading. And if there's something I didn't understand, I would, try to really learn a little bit more about that and speak to myself. I came up with acronyms too about how I can memorize, or how could I learn this information that spoke to me. So hopefully that helps, Michelle.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Noeller. I think that was perfect. So we hope you have happy holidays, Dr. Noeller, and I really appreciate you spending some time on your Friday to talk to us about your journey.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate that you invited me here, and I wish you all the very best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Yes, on your journey. So have a great one.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Hopefully that was helpful to provide some additional insight for you all as you're on your journey as well.